Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. Wow, what a story we've got for you today. This one, I can't believe. A man in Wisconsin fakes his own death. Apparently, perhaps for a woman in Uzbekistan. Is that what's going on here? But, has his family left behind, his wife and 3 kids, has the law enforcement just... You could tell they're a little livid with all of this, but we're going to go through the story, how he faked it, how he got out of the country, and what happens next. I'm Vinny Politan with Al Wunsch and the legendary Jonesy. This is the Tangent Podcast.
It's Vinny and the Tangent. True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangent, True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangent, True Crime Podcast.
All right, folks, here we go on a special Wednesday pre-Thanksgiving edition of your Tangent Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Yeah, we usually go Fridays. We're going Wednesday because this Wednesday is a Friday. Like, it's got a Friday feel to it. Yeah. When I was growing up, this was the biggest party night of the year.
Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
When I worked at the nightclub, I DJ'd at the Loop Lounge. The owners there told me that this night was the biggest party night of the year, even bigger than New Year's Eve.
Yeah, a lot of people come back to their hometowns and, hit the local club or bar or establishment. So where are you partying tonight, Al?
I will be partying at Wind Creek in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Is that where you're going for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, well, my son lives out there, so
okay, fantastic.
Visiting him and staying at the casino, and so
traditional casino Thanksgiving.
What else is there, to be honest with you? To me,
it's casino.
It's all a crapshoot anyway. In the real, if we come down to it, so that's where I'll be.
I bet the casino's open on Thanksgiving Day, right?
Because casinos open every day.
Yeah, they never close. Cool.
They never
open. Really? I never even thought of that because I never thought of going to a casino on Thanksgiving.
There are probably people that do.
Well, I hope I'm going to be giving thanks big time. If I can, pull 3 of a kind or something.
Unbelievable. So how about this dude, man? Just walks away from his life.
My brother once did that. My brother was married, and one day his wife calls up the family, and she says he told her he was going out for a sub sandwich, a hero to some, a hoagie to others. And he
poor boy.
And he disappeared. That was it.
Grinder?
Grinder, yeah.
Grinder? Yeah, Grinder. Yeah, I never really heard that one until later years. But
that's New England. That's New England.
Well, if he said he was going to get a grinder and his wife wanted to find him, where would she go?
Connecticut.
I would think Philadelphia for a hoagie.
Yes, he said hoagie?
No, he said sub sandwich. That's what we called it.
A sub. So then he could be New Jersey, New York, right?
Yeah. Right.
Where did he go?
Probably the Stashes on Kearney Avenue, which back when we were kids made the best sub sandwiches. Eventually, a Blimpie moved in right next to them. Go figure. And Stashes, of course, blew Blimpies away.
Oh. Interesting.
But he did. He did he wanted out, and he just told her he was going out. And
that was the end of it?
So how long was he gone?
Well, he needed a place to stay, so he surfaced. I mean, he showed up at our place.
Citizen Yid is in Philly eating hoagies.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to me, there, Jonesy, that was a well thought out plan by him.
No, it wasn't.
This kayak guy seems to have a little more, depth
Yeah.
to his plan, other than leaving the house where he lives with his wife, and then going to his family's house and saying he's missing.
And when he showed up at your house, did he bring any of the stashes subs?
Nah, he got like a hole for himself. Left the rest of us hungry. But there was also a case in Seaside, an amusement park town in Jersey, where a young couple were on the beach after hours, after lifeguards left, and the woman reported to the police that her boyfriend went into the water and got sucked away by like one big wave. And there was a big manhunt, like they searched, they got out they dragged the ocean or whatever it is they do. It turned out a few days later that the guy had some debt and stuff like that. So he thought like she would report him dead, and he would be clean of his past, and they could live happily ever after. Instead, of course, he was charged and arrested.
Oh, by the way, Boston calls it subs also, apparently. I thought Boston was grinder country.
I thought Boston was grinder too. In fact, everyone in Boston calls it a grinder.
I thought Boston were heroes.
No, grinders. The grinder.
So where are the heroes?
Yeah, but Love Boston is in Boston and is calling it a sub. So maybe maybe there was a civil war.
There could have been. There very well could have. Well, you got Boston has got the south side, you got the north side, you got the east side, you got the west side.
What you do is you go have yourself a nice Jimmy's John.
The Jimmy John. The first time I ever heard of that was
a commercial
in Pennsylvania. No, in Pennsylvania, because my son went to school in PA, and he would talk about Jimmy John's all the time. Never heard of the place before.
Well, they have them in Pennsylvania, huh?
Yeah, they have them down here too in Georgia. The first time I went, the sub was done before I finished paying for it. I was I'm finishing the order, I'm getting the credit card out, swiping, and then they hand me this. I'm like, it's done already? It's amazing. It's amazing. Big thanks to Sarah Elena Peterson with a super sticker. So
yay, thank you.
Let's take a listen now. Here's law enforcement. Here we go. Start here. Describing how he faked it. So this is how he faked his own death.
And he decided in one of his communications that he was going to tell us how he did that. He stashed an e-bike near the boat launch. He paddled his kayak in a child-sized floating boat out into the lake. He overturned the kayak and dumped his phone in the lake. He paddled the inflatable boat to shore and got on his e-bike and rode through the night to Madison. In Madison, he boarded a bus and went to Detroit and then the Canadian border. He continued on the bus to an airport and got on a plane. We are continuing to verify this information, trying to put the dots together, but we feel that this was Ryan's way that he could tell the entire country how he did it. In our communications, we are expressing the importance of his decision to return home, clean up the mess that he has created. Our primary judicial concern has been that he safely gets back to U.S. soil. He needs to return home to his children. If he chooses not to return, it's on his own free will. And I think the message is very clear. We have been continuing to contact the family members regarding our communication with Ryan. No warrants have been issued yet. We believe that warrants will not be needed if Ryan cooperates and decides to turn and return home soon. I cannot speak on further on the comments that we have had with him in our communications, but only that we continue to search and help him in any way that we can to get him back.
Bizarre, right? So some of the other information in the preparation for this escape from Green Lake, Wisconsin, he changed the emails associated with his bank accounts and then moved his money to a foreign bank. He removed the hard drive from his laptop and wiped away his search history. He also left his original passport at home and I guess had reported his passport lost and had gotten a second passport. So he had all of that kind of going down, and ultimately that's how he gets away. And it's from my perspective, it's quite a plan, right? So he's making it look like the kayak flips over, he loses his phone, and he's lost in Green Lake, Wisconsin.
Right.
This is in July.
You know, it's funny, Ben, because, you know, in history, there have been a number of people.
History?
The Civil War to civil rights and all the revolution fights. World War I and World War II. I'll always know who is who. It's this day in history. This day in history. History. Now let's listen to his story.
All right, what's your story today?
Okay, all right. True crime we'll go with first, and then we'll go with some Thanksgiving history facts. On this day, 11/27/1978, gay rights activist Harvey Milk, first openly gay elected official, was assassinated in San Francisco. His killer, Dan White, was later convicted of manslaughter after successfully alleging that clinical depression had impaired his judgment. He was sentenced to 7 years, believe it or not, that was it, for killing of Harvey Milk. He served 5. He went back to San Francisco and eventually committed suicide on the situation there.
All right.
So that is the situation with that. On 11/27/1924, the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade
Oh,
was held
what
in
year
New
was
York
that?
City.
Did you say 44?
1924.
24.
So this is the 100th anniversary, huh?
This is
100th
it.
anniversary. And
Wow.
interestingly, the balloons didn't get started until 1927. So in 1924, it was just a straight parade. And then in 1927, they decided to bring in these balloons. And then that's what we all long to see. And right now in the city, there's the filling up of the balloons. It's a real spectacle. You can go watch. It's something that I would never have done or do, but that's besides the point. And I played football every Thanksgiving, so I never had to get stuck going to the stupid parade. But that was the parade, the first day. Now, a couple little tidbits about Thanksgiving. I'm not going to talk about the first Thanksgiving and stuff like that because that's been done ad nauseum. But did you know that the tradition of pardoning the turkey started with Harry Truman? So Harry Truman, there was a famous.
Pardon me.
That they pardoned the turkey. It was the first time that happened because it was the first time that they made a spectacle of donating a turkey to the White House. This company had thought it was a great publicity stunt. They decided to give it to Harry Truman, and Harry Truman was like looking at the turkey, and he pardoned it because he knew that if he had it slaughtered, there would be some sort of an issue. So that was the first one to do it. Now, the holiday, okay, the national holiday.
Oh, you're allowed to kill turkeys, right? I mean,
Well,
we don't have to wait for them to pass away before we can eat them, right?
Well, yeah, they don't have to die of old age. That's true. Okay.
Yeah, I only eat fruit that falls from trees. I don't want to You know, I only eat fruit that falls from trees because I don't want to pluck them in the middle of their vegetable lives.
That's true.
Well,
Right?
okay, but that's very, very, very nice of you.
You don't think it hurts when you rip a head of lettuce out of the ground?
Right.
I've never heard it scream. And remember that in the space, no one can hear you. In space, no one can hear you scream. So keep that in mind from the alien fans that are watching. The holiday, the national holiday, was declared by Abraham Lincoln on October 3rd, 1863, and he decided that it was going to be celebrated the last Thursday of November. But George Washington had declared that November 26, 1789 was going to be a day of public Thanksgiving. So he was the first president of our country, and he was the first one to decide that we needed to have a day of Thanksgiving. And I wonder if
Abe made it official, is what you're saying. So
Abe made it official. Abe made it official. Now, if you look at the timing of it, October of 1863, we were in the middle of the Civil War. Okay, Gettysburg had just happened in July. Okay, Vicksburg had just happened in July. There was the tide was turning against the Confederacy at that point, and the Union was gaining superiority across the board. The Confederacy was divided in half, and Lincoln thought it was an appropriate time to show Thanksgiving for for God looking out for the Union. And that's when it was.
Let me ask you about that Civil War for a second, Al.
Yes.
Did each side have their own uniforms? Like, because they're all like Americans, so it's going to be difficult to distinguish who's who. So did they dress differently?
The blue and the gray. The Union wore blue, and the Confederate wore gray.
So if they did that, wouldn't it be a good strategy if you wanted to infiltrate the other side that you would just put on their uniforms and they wouldn't know?
Yeah, except that if you do that, you're captured, you're summarily executed.
Oh,
by which side? By the side that you.
Well, I mean, if you are dressed if you're a Union soldier dressed as a Confederate and you try to infiltrate over on the other side and you're captured, you will be executed as a spy.
Okay.
I see.
And it's a hanging death. It's not a firing squad.
Okay.
Firing squad, believe it or not, in the military parlance of that time,
that's the easy way out.
That was the man's way out. That was one of the arguments that was raised. We talked last week about the Nuremberg trials. Hermann Goering, wanted to be executed by firing squad, and they said, no, you're going to be hung, which was, in his opinion, a traitorous death, and that's why he ended up taking poison and killing himself beforehand.
Okay.
All right, so Washington was the first one to really declare this public Thanksgiving in 1789, and this was after the Constitution had been, ratified. But there was one United States president who refused to recognize Thanksgiving. I wonder, Jonesy, any thoughts on who that might have been?
Carter.
Jimmy Carter? One of the most religious presidents we've ever had. No,
I just figured it was an absurd answer.
It is an absurd answer, believe it or not, but it's
Grant.
Ulysses S. Grant? No, not Ulysses. Ulysses S. Grant would have been someone that would have been a big fan of Thanksgiving.
Jackson.
Nope. Thomas Jefferson.
What? TJ?
Thomas Jefferson refused to recognize Thanksgiving, and the original holiday was supposed to be a day of fasting, believe it or not. That's what Washington wanted. Washington wanted it to be a day of fasting, not feasting, and Thomas Jefferson refused to recognize Thanksgiving, being the only president to ever refuse to recognize Thanksgiving.
Could you imagine inviting all the Native Americans over and they're not serving anything?
Having a fast, yeah. So did it start?
That's no way to treat a guest.
Well,
an offering of nothing.
Did it become a feast when somebody who couldn't see well was trying to read the doctrine, the instructions?
Well, it has progressed, and the dates have kind of moved also. As I said, Washington wanted November 26th. Lincoln wanted the last Thursday in November, and FDR moved it because he wanted to have a greater break between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so that the retailers were going to be able to do more advertising and things along those lines.
I thought he wanted to put time between the Thursday football and the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm wearing my Don Bosco thing, because this Friday we have the championship game against Bergen Catholic. Boo.
He's suiting up. Al is suiting up.
That's right. I'll be on the sidelines, folks.
You're like 21 Jump Street when Peter DeLuise went back to high school and was able to play football one more time.
Yes, that's what I'm longing for. The sad part about it is that despite having been inducted into the Don Bosco Hall of Fame for football, if I was on the team now, I don't think I could have been anything more than a tackling dummy.
Right. Yeah,
these guys are huge. The average height of the offensive lineman is like 6'4".
Yeah, you know what it is? It's these kids. They're just big. These kids are big.
By the way, now the newer generations are like larger.
Than us.
I guess that's life. That's progression and all.
I stand on the sidelines and I look like their child. So it's kind of a father-son game as I'm standing next to these guys.
By the way, Kim obviously got the major announcement that was made by me and can't wait to join the party of the year, December 22. How about that? Woo! Again, folks, Sunday, December 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, the prime time Tangent podcast, the Tangent Christmas special. It could be 1 hour, it could be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We don't know.
We're bringing back the Gold Digger.
Yeah, just really an amazing event. And by the way, you can join in the fun by sending us your old time Christmas photos. Send them to VinnyMods@gmail. We're getting some already. You can see the Mod Squad doing a great job keeping them all organized. They've been overwhelmed in the last 24 hours, but you can send them. If you send your Christmas picture to VinnyMods@gmail, please include your YouTube handle, your Facebook handle, or your X handle, so we know how to refer to you when we make it part of the show. So
that center photo is like such a slice of Americana. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Is it really?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Boom.
Oh, amazing. All right.
All right. So let's go back to our so that's our day in history. Everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Okay. But remember, it was originally a day of fasting, not feasting. And go Don Bosco. Okay. And then we have Army football on Saturday and then the Jets on Sunday. So it's a complete weekend of fun.
All right. So I want to get back to this story. And so they were in contact with him, and they made contact with him by going through whatever sort of information they were able to get from the cloud and the other digital forensic look at his items, trying to figure this out. And they tracked down a woman who spoke Russian. And through the Russian woman, they were able to contact him, and he gave them the information about how he got away, etc. But he also sent a proof of life video. They wanted a proof of life video because they still weren't sure what was going on here, right? Because he ends up overseas in Uzbekistan, apparently. So I want to play for you. I got to find it. The proof of life video.
Good evening, it's Ryan Borgward. Today, hello Matt. Today is November 11th. It's approximately 10 a.m. by you guys. I'm in my apartment. I am safe, secure, no problem. Hope this works.
Weird, right?
Weird is he looks like he's in the Hanoi Hilton, for God's sakes. It looks like what the prisoner videos they used to send back in the days of Vietnam. I mean, what?
Well, I think that's something else. People and we haven't heard this from law enforcement, but a lot of people who saw this video had the same reaction. Al, that could it be that he was catfished and ends up in Uzbekistan and he transferred money over there, that this whole thing was some scam and now he's being held hostage? Is that possible? Or is it a guy who just walked away from his wife and his life and his kids?
At first I thought it was cool that he was showing such a benign background. Like, you can't really pick anything out of it. You can't really distinguish where he is. But then he goes to show the rest of the room to demonstrate the fact that he's there in a room of his own free will.
There's very little.
I thought he was hiding the fact. He was hiding any clues as to where they might find him.
What's that above the door? I'm looking for a clue in this picture. What is
like event?
Yeah, that's where they crawl through at night. The children, so they can steal your stuff.
It's very barren. He's not living a life of luxury, I don't think. We get a little.
No, it's clean.
It's definitely clean. But what's your take, Jonesy? Do you think he just walked away, or do you think that he was catfished into this whole thing?
I'll take him at his word. He doesn't look distressed or anything like that. I see no reason why we would think that he was taken. I mean, if he was taken,
Jonesy, how could you say he doesn't look distressed? I mean,
well, he's distressed by his own doing. He's I'm sure that's weighing on him, but he doesn't look like he's in fear of his life, does he?
I don't know. He looks to me like he's, what the hell did I get myself into? I got to get out of here. And, that's the kind of look on the thing. I mean, it's a horrific crime to perpetrate upon your family. To put them through it. And and he did think this out fairly well, in the sense that he picked a waterway that was the deepest in the area. So of course it was going to be a lot more difficult to maneuver and try to find him if he was at the bottom of the lake, and things along those lines. So yeah, he definitely did some serious thinking on it. It's just odd to me in this day and age that somebody can get away that easily. Take a bike, go up to here, get there.
I love the e-bike. I love the e-bike through the night, right?
70 miles.
70 miles.
70 miles to Madison.
Over the border, and then get able to get a plane and get to Uzbekistan. Which in and of itself, I would think you'd need a visa to get into Uzbekistan anyway. I know you need special privileges to fly to a lot of different countries. I can't imagine that Uzbekistan is an open border country.
Well, he left from Canada, so I don't know if that plays into it at all.
That's a possibility, but he's got a U.S. passport, and they said that he had claimed he lost his passport and then had another one issued, sort of close to this event of him disappearing. That's how, it's just bizarre. It screws up your whole family. You have
three kids.
Why are the children wearing paper bags over their head in that photo?
Because they're children, so we don't show their faces.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't want to, and plus, they're victims in this, and we don't show victims, for purposes of especially children, unless they're, God forbid, missing or something along those lines.
Right.
But paper bags.
Hey, Al, Kirsten Miller. Al, I have some great historical fiction books I've written under my pen name, Rory Blue.
Okay.
Evie's War. Write that down. Add that to your library.
I'm putting it down there. I generally don't read fiction, but I'm going to look her up.
So fiction's the one that's not true, right?
Fiction is the one that's made up. Nonfiction means not fiction, so that's how that works.
Isn't that redundant? If it's not nonfiction, or it's oh my, if fiction is made up, And
nonfiction is not made up. Like it should be the other way around. It should be
Yeah.
like whatever, like come up with another word for true. And then the non-true should be the fiction. Like I think they messed that up when they
Yes.
came up with the word. That's all I'm
they got
saying.
it backwards.
I'll speak with Dewey Decimal, and I will get
Yeah.
back.
Ashley believes that Al deserves a hipper song. Wait, but before you answer, Al, I'll have Jonesy. Jonesy, what do you think about this day in history?
Well, I like the segment and
The song. We're talking about the song.
I like the song. The song's good. I like the music that you've created for the show because I find it to be a throwback in time.
Yeah, I think the history song. I'll disagree with Ashley. I'm allowed to. I don't think you want a hipper song to talk about history. You want something that's a little more classy. I gave you a classy tune there, Al.
I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been someone. You were my brother, Charlie. You were supposed to look out for me. And instead, I got a one-way ticket to Palookaville. Thank you.
That's still
All right. By the way, Maureen agrees.
Brando for the day.
In Boaton, we call them subs or submarines, never grinders.
Where's
So
Boaton?
never a grinder in Boston. I didn't know. So it only goes as north as Connecticut, and then it stops. That's interesting. Very interesting. What else do I have for you? So
Okay,
do you
so-
want a twist in this whole thing? I've got a twist, and this was a twist in the story because he goes missing in, I believe it's July or August, and then there's this search for him, and then just recently they've basically uncovered the fact that he ran away. They still don't know exactly where he is, by the way. They were able to track him down, through phone calls and stuff, but they have not tracked him down. But there was this young woman on TikTok, and she's in San Diego, California, and interviewed a guy in June. Let me play the story from the local news for you, a piece of it. And then I want to hear what you have to say about this.
TikTok video shot in June by a content creator out in San Diego. Take a look at this video taken at Pacific Beach in San Diego, California. Content creator Bailey Boomhauer, seen here holding up a sign asking if anyone wanted free advice when a man on a bicycle came up to her asking this question.
I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Say that one more time.
Do I go to Uzbekistan or stay here?
Do you have family there?
No.
Why do you want to go?
Meet a woman?
So you've given up on meeting someone here?
No, I'm married.
The video that now has nearly 4.5 million views shows similar facial features to Ryan Borgward. In an interview with Action 2 News on the phone, Boomhauer describes the interaction as bizarre. She says the similarities between Borgward's story and the person she spoke with in California raise questions.
When I first heard that from the original video, I've never even heard of that place before, so it's just a very, odd parallel that the man that's missing is also connected to Uzbekistan.
Boomhauer informed law enforcement of its existence.
Anything that we can get, we certainly go through it, see if will help us out, but no, anybody that has any information, please come forward.
The sheriff's office says on its Facebook page they believe the person in the video is not Borgward, but when asked in person on Wednesday, they say they have to investigate it further. In Green Lake, Samantha Cavalli, Action 2 News.
What about that?
Well,
That was in June she did this.
I mean,
before
look,
he disappeared.
the odds of two people married, going to meet a woman in Uzbekistan, okay, I have to say it's got to be astronomical. I mean, it's not a country you ordinarily would just say, yeah, going to Uzbekistan. So, I mean, it just seems very odd, and they do look very similar.
The hair is different, though. Like
The hair is different, yeah.
It looks like the one guy it might be a baldy. I don't see any sideburns.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I don't see.
But everything else is the same. But his hair is so short here. I don't know.
Unless there's a catfish thing going on out of Uzbekistan, which certainly makes sense to me. It certainly makes sense to me that might be the situation. They may be luring these guys to get them over there, transfer their bank accounts, do things along those lines. and to meet a Asian, because that's like the Asian part of the old Soviet Union, to meet these girls, and it may just be a constant catfish thing. And married guys, he's interested in doing something different, and what a perfect thing to do. They get you to Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
What a disaster. I mean, look, if I'm disappearing, okay, I'm not going to Uzbekistan. All right. Yeah. You'll find me in Brisbane, Australia. All right. That's where I would go. I would never go to Uzbekistan. So
Jonesy, here's yes. the question. Like, why this guy is married and he stops to talk to this woman about leaving his wife to go to Uzbekistan with a video camera in his face. That's bizarre, too.
I'm always suspect of these things that go viral, and my first thought was that it could have been created to create a buzz, to create hits, to elevate this person who posted it.
But the only difference is that she did this in June before he went missing, before it was a story.
Oh, it was posted before it became a story.
Before it was a story.
Well, then I'm dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded, confounded.
Right?
Now,
there's this one woman in Uzbekistan or how do you say it again? Uzbekistan, who likes guys who look like this, I think.
Jonesy,
maybe it's her type.
Jonesy, would your brother would have stopped and asked that woman for advice prior to him disappearing from his wife?
No, he just wanted to get to the sub shop.
What if she was at the sub shop? Would he have asked her the question? Should I leave and my wife and disappear and go to my mother's house? That would be the question then.
Nah, even Ronnie was smarter than that.
By the way, say big hello, Grizzly True Crime.
Hi, Grizzly True Crime. Yay.
Fantastic.
You
get to watch me tonight.
Hello, Grizzly.
And investigates.
So
with Grizzly,
the guy plans.
Israel will be joining us. Go ahead.
The guy plans this thing out pretty well.
Except removing his money from the accounts. Doesn't that wouldn't that be something that would be noticed by authorities and raise a red flag?
Usually. And then also it's the insurance. That's the other question that comes into play. Well, and that's where these guys end up getting jammed up, because if there is a death certificate and then an insurance policy pays off, then it's fraud.
Right.
And then that's where you start looking at the criminal.
But is there a crime here? Is there what's the crime?
Faking death so that you can give a $375,000 insurance payment to the family. That's fraud. That's a criminal fraud.
But it didn't get to that.
If the family's in on it.
No. The family doesn't. I'm not saying the family's going to be arrested.
But how does he fake? It looks like he died, right? It looks like he died, but there's no body. So how can you prove that he's attempting the fraud? He's just leaving his wife and his life.
Yes.
Okay, but he's not dead. Okay, so
right?
That's the problem. So
that's the problem.
Because look, you know what insurance is? Insurance is that you're going to bet. Okay, so if you get a policy, you pay for a year. You're going to bet that you'll be dead before the end of the year. And if you're not, the insurance company wins because they get another year of premiums. All right. So the whole concept of it is you can't apply for that life insurance unless you're dead. And if he's declared dead, okay, because he's
not going to be collecting it.
Nor is he reporting himself dead.
Nor is he reporting himself dead. And nor is he in cahoots with his wife.
Except though that there was details that I went to this lake because it was the deepest. I made this look, and I went surreptitiously 70 miles, got on a bus, got over the border, went and took a plane to Uzbekistan. Okay, he wasn't coming back.
Right.
At least he didn't think he was coming back. Now I think he's got obviously second thoughts on it. But that's fraud. He's perpetrating a fraud.
I would think that would be. I mean, you guys are the lawyers, but I would think that.
Well, number one, no one has claimed the. Well, let's look at what's happening now, though. So you're saying it's an attempted fraud because there is no fraud because there is no insurance that's being collected upon.
Well, we don't know that. He did have an insurance policy. I did not know. It didn't mention whether or not it was, if they paid off on the policy.
Well, it hasn't been declared dead, so I don't think it's been paid off yet.
That's
right.
probably
no crime. But what's the crime? There's no crime, Al.
But there is also obstruction of justice, and there's also
what?
Well,
what did he do?
In the sense that he has disappeared. They have spent large numbers of. They looked for him for a month, and in fact,
I could see suing him civilly. Maybe you sue him civilly for the restitution for the money. But what's the crime?
If I'm not mistaken, he thought they would only be looking for him for 2 weeks. All right, which I mean, he obviously made a mistake on that. And so that's why I think that this was set up as a conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, because he believed that they would be looking him for only 2 weeks. Figured at the end of 2 weeks they would declare him dead. The family would get the $350,000. I think it's $350,000 policy. He's in Uzbekistan. They've got financial security, and he's now with the catfish in Uzbekistan. So that's a conspiracy. You could get that on that.
Conspiracy with whom?
It's a conspiracy.
Who's he conspiring with?
He's conspiring with the. Well, let's see.
He's not.
All right, so it's attempted. It's an attempted fraud. So same thing.
You're not going to win that case.
So
that case won't hold any water.
I think you can get him on criminal charges for this. He's also
abandonment would be grounds for a divorce, right? It's not a criminal thing.
You don't need a ground for divorce anymore. All you have to do is
I'm asking if I'm saying abandonment is not a crime, right?
No,
it's just simply grounds for divorce.
No, like morally, what he did is ridiculous, but like criminally, I don't see any crime.
Plus, he's not saying he's dead. He's just leaving you clues. It's your interpretation,
right? He didn't report himself dead. He didn't put like a fake body there. He didn't.
How do you report yourself dead?
Hey, listen, you pretend to be someone else and you report someone dead. He didn't report himself missing. There's no fake reporting. There's nothing. He just turned over his kayak, jumped in the dinghy, biked 70 miles, took a bus, took a plane, and checked out.
Well, so what if he tried to avoid his debts? What if he tried to avoid? I mean, we take a look at the situation in a case that dealt with Olivia Newton-John. That was the Patrick McDermott case, where this guy faked his death, disappeared. He had tons of debts and things along those lines, and he just disappeared after being on a fishing charter boat.
I saw him.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever found him, though. I mean, there's people that say he's been around. They claim that they've seen it. I know that they've had detectives looking for him and things along those lines, and his whereabouts have been speculated. But he was also on America's Most Wanted, the story on that. But why did he go? He left because he had tons of debts and he had other things that he had to deal with, and he figured the best thing to do is fake your death and get the heck out of there.
Yeah. Well, Lucy Huerta, isn't it a crime to use law enforcement, to misuse law enforcement resources? Yeah, but he didn't ask law enforcement to go look for him. I think they have a civil case to try to get some of the restitution, but I think that's it. I don't see a criminal case for that. And even in his press conference, the officer was saying, well, we're looking at some possible charges. We may try to get a warrant. I don't even know how you get a warrant. You can't. What's the warrant for? We're getting a warrant for his arrest for what?
The thing is this, that, well, you know what? If he's not paying child support, that's a criminal offense. You could be arrested for that.
Well, yeah, but first the judge has to tell you to pay child support, which he has not been told.
Well, you're not allowed to abandon your children. Okay, so that's what he did.
He didn't. He
You want to get him for child abandonment?
Well, why not?
Well,
is that really a crime? Like, so then it's every deadbeat dad a child abandoner?
They put dads in jail for failure to pay child support.
For failure to pay, there has to be an order for them to pay, though.
Okay, so you go to court, you get an order, and then he's a goner. But I mean,
now you're making up right now. There's no crime, Al. You're trying to create a crime. You sound like the FBI.
You're a defense lawyer.
Benny, here's the situation, right? So if the sheriff gets up there and starts talking about the fact that, when he gets back here, he's going to the who's gal, he's not coming back. So the last thing you say is we got a whole bunch of stuff ready to go. Okay, as soon as we grab him, and his little hiney's going to be in the jail. All right. You don't say that. You want to get the guy back, and then you go, bam, you got him.
Look, nobody ever charged Elvis Presley for faking his own death. So why would they charge this guy?
Right. Speaking of famous people that fake their own death,
aren't you? Right? I make a great point.
Famous people.
Most people that fake their deaths, and like the case you were talking about, Jonesy, with the couple down in Seaside, New Jersey, Seaside Heights, who it was a conspiracy between the husband and the wife.
Yeah, and she filed false police report.
Right, and she filed the claim, and they conspired the whole thing. There's no conspiracy here. There's just a man walking away and turning over a kayak and throwing his cell phone to the bottom of Green Lake, Wisconsin. I mean, he's abominable. I think he's a disgrace. I think he needs to come home. I think he needs to take care of his kids. I think he needs to apologize to everyone. But I don't see a crime. And I'm a former prosecutor. I like to see crimes when they're committed, but this one's tough because it's different than most of the ones we see.
Yeah, it's a unique question. I'll say that, but like the way they get these guys usually is because of the insurance proceeds.
Right.
Those lines, and if insurance was not paid out, then you're probably right. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. But going on Jonesy's ridiculous comment on Elvis, Ken Kesey, okay, the famous author, he faked his death when he was looking at a prison sentence for possession of marijuana back in 1965.
It's not Ken Casey?
Yeah, Ken Kesey.
Oh, okay.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Okay.
Right. You said. I thought you said Kesey.
I may have pronounced it that way, but
I'm just clarifying who it is. Yeah, Ken Casey.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The mass murderer John Allen had faked his identity after he had been arrested
to abscond justice, though, right? To abscond justice.
Well, no, he ended up. It was Anthony John Angel. Okay, that was his original name, and then he converted it to John Allen. Okay, when he was caught with workplace theft, and then he faked his own suicide in 1967. This is in England. By allegedly drowning near Beachy Head, which was a popular spot for suicide in the United Kingdom. And then he subsequently remarried and murdered red-rummed his wife and children. So
yeah. So I mean, there's a little more to that. This guy is just hanging out in a really bad apartment in Uzbekistan. Like, is that a crime?
Alone.
Alone. It seems alone, but we're not sure. April Diaz, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Enjoy your family time. Thank you so much, April. Appreciate it.
Thanks, April. Happy Thanksgiving.
And She Jukester, Vinny, you are a crack up.
Okay.
See, I'm gonna steal your job, Al. I'll be performing at Bananas this weekend.
And next week I'll have blue eyes. So we'll go right from there.
And I'll still be Jonesy.
Catherine has reminded us that Elvis is dead. Do we all believe that? Are we all on board with that?
I am.
Al, you're the only one who actually broadcast from his home. Do you believe he's dead?
Yes, I do.
I broadcast from his home.
That's what I meant. Did I say Al? I meant to say Jonesy. Jonesy, you're the only one who broadcasts from his home. Do you believe he's dead?
Yeah, sadly, he's dead. But you know, when you visit Graceland, the gravestone that says Elvis Presley, Elvis Aaron Presley, Aaron spelled
It's spelled wrong.
incorrectly, is not really his grave. His grave is a little bit off to the side and unmarked, and it's kind of
Really?
I think it's kind of a way for people to pay their respects, and somehow maybe to protect the body. I don't know. I don't know why, but
I
it's
would
not
think the
really him.
king would want something a little more elaborate there, Jonesy.
Yeah, well, he has a nice, simple tombstone. He was a simple man.
I understood that the guitar-shaped pool was rather modest, as was
Yeah.
the house.
Oh yeah, it's all rather modest. When you go downstairs into the basement, it's just like a narrow stairwell. You know, it's kind of like it's not very high, and when you walk down it, it's also not very wide. It's just so odd to think that like this bigger than life star Elvis Presley like would live, you know, with basically a finished basement. You know, a finished basement with carpeting on the wall, yeah, and like you know, and stuffed bears, but nonetheless a finished basement.
It's called
it is very
wall-to-wall carpeting.
Wall to wall.
Yeah,
Exactly.
literally, right?
So
But
Melissa is saying, what about, I just want to bring this up really quickly, Al, I'm sorry.
Right.
Melissa, what about Sherry Papini? Isn't this the same thing? Sherry Papini was the woman who ran away from her husband
Right.
and then pretended to get beaten up, and then pretended to escape from her kidnappers. And she was really just away with a boyfriend having an affair.
Tawana Brawley.
Yeah, right. But Papini actually made the report herself. So there's false reporting there. So it's not the same thing. Like this guy never reported himself dead or missing. Like Sherry Papini reported falsely to police that she had been kidnapped. So it's similar, but different.
I got a bullet in here. Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead.
Okay.
Those of you SNL fans, that was the old Chevy Chase joke during Weekend Update.
All right. MW agrees with me. The deadbeat is not a criminal. He's guilty of being a deadbeat dad and a horrible husband. He's made lives difficult and used taxpayers' money to look for this bleep. Yeah, I think the money, there's an absolute civil case against him for restitution for the amount of money, about $40,000 that was spent in the search. And I think, you know, if he's still alive now, if he came home, would that still be the case after his wife got her hands on him? They apparently want him back, though. You know, you get 3 kids. I mean, if you look at the picture, let's see if I still have the picture here. Do I have the picture? Yeah. So if you look, like he's got an actual family, like a wife, kids, everybody looks relatively normal, right? There doesn't nothing. I mean, the orange with the checkered blue shirt, it's not working. Like, okay, I get it, but
doesn't the son in the background also have an orange tie?
No, it's pink. Pink, purple. Like the young son is dressed 1000% appropriately. White shirt, patterned tie, right? That
looks like a clip-on to me.
Well, the orange, I like orange and blue, but it's not working. That's just not working what he's doing there.
Orange and blue.
I don't know if you can make a tie work with that shirt. I think you'd have to go with a dark blue tie. Would be the only way to even modestly get away with it. But that's a shirt that you don't wear a tie with. I don't know.
Looks more like a working shirt to me than a shirt you'd wear a tie with.
Yeah. Anyhow,
you sell insurance with that shirt.
Yeah, I don't know what he did for a living, but so what do you do if you just show up in Uzbekistan? Like what do you do? Like how's he gonna make a living? Can you just work?
See, that's where the planning, I think, fell apart on this whole situation, because once you get to a foreign country, it is not easy to be able to get working papers, to be able to get any type of decent employment. You're kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
You take a look at a situation now, you're like, I'm here. What am I supposed to do? I'm sure he could get day laborer work somewhere around, doing something there. But he's not going to be able to get any type of sizable job with a decent salary.
Not to support his new girlfriend.
How much money did he transfer from his accounts?
From the look at
and how far will that go? Where he is
in Uzbekistan, right? That might go far there for a while. Yeah. But obviously, I'm not being catty here, but by the way he's dressed and everything, he's not a millionaire. He does not present himself as a millionaire.
Well, he looks like he has a sunken living room.
Yeah. You think it's a split level?
I don't know. It's not really a sunken living room.
Is that from the house though? Or is that from their house? Doesn't look like it would be.
Yeah, maybe not. That looks like
that looks like it's
a school.
Yeah,
or,
it could be
a restaurant or something, because I mean, you see that
could be church.
That
could be church.
It could be like church. Yep.
Church, Sunday school, something like that, because everyone's dressed up. They're dressed.
Yeah, that doesn't look like it's his house.
Nicely. Yeah. All right, let's get to some of the comments before we run out of time like we always do. Let's see. All right, nice. I love when you go on. You are one of my favorite Court TV guests. Gen X is speaking to
Albert.
Gisela from Grizzly True Crime. She's going to be on tonight.
Oh,
and by the way, Gen X, as always, along with the rest of the Mod Squad, taking care of the chat today.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The Mod Squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The Mod Squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean. So let's give it up and say hello to the three amazing ladies running the show. Gen X, let's make some noise. Frankie Fakes, let's clap our hands. And Jennifer Subay, let's raise the roof. Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat.
Yes, we've got order in the chat with the Mod Squad. Thank you, Gen X, Frankie Fakes, Jennifer Subay, working hard and working super hard with all the Christmas car photos that are being sent in. Let's see. Oh, Rob's got some news for us. Vinny and Albert and Jonesy, we got more TV alert news. Then wife and lawyer for missing Kayak will be on Tamron Hall show at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. PST Pacific time. Also, we need a Court TV live mega cast. Thank you, Robert. Robert's always watching. Love that guy. All right. Let's see what else we have.
I don't know. I have to think there has got to be some sort of a crime here.
You're still searching for a crime.
I'm searching for a crime because the thing is this. I mean, it's an attempted.
He's going to be punished by his wife enough. Don't worry about it.
That's the truth. Believe me or not.
Well,
and then
he'll
really punish. She'll really punish him by divorcing him.
You're both speaking as though he's actually going to come back.
Well, the interesting thing to me is that this may be his cry for help, and he may have to get to the embassy and see if they'll send him back, because he may not have the money to get back to the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look like he's doing too well over there. I mean, I'm telling you, that I've seen prisoners of war who've seemed a little more upbeat than he has in that video. And if I was like the family and I'm looking at this, I'm going like, this don't look good.
So is my mic extra loud today? A real happy 33.
I'm not noticing that right now, but we have been argumentative.
Okay. Well, I haven't touched anything, but let me just adjust a little bit. Is that better?
I don't think there's a sound issue. It was just, there was a lot of talking over each other.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So naturally we try to get louder so we could make our point,
That's right. All right. Thank you. Real happy. Yeah. Someday we're going to hire an official engineer for all this. We'll make him wear an engineer hat, like on the train. That would
Can
be
we make
awesome.
him wear headphones?
And headphones.
And,
Yeah,
and one of
exactly.
those like little like speaker things that stick in front of your mouth.
Okay. And apparently my voice has been scratching also. Have you guys noticed that? Apparently folks are hearing that. Interesting.
Only when the Tangent promo was playing. Only when the Tangent promo was playing underneath it, and I think it was because the algorithms of the music and your voice couldn't be handled by the digitization.
Yeah, I think look, Jones, you're using a lot of big words there, but I think I understood what you said.
Yeah, that was weird, huh?
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm out.
So do you think it's more of a man thing to disappear or a woman thing to disappear?
Oh, like Runaway Bride. Remember the Runaway Bride? I mean, women do it too.
Okay. Because I mean, I'm looking up, people who fake their own death, and it seems to me that there is a fair number of women who have done this to escape murder charges, escape, I guess, failed marriages, to go with their lovers, leave the country, things along those lines. And that's an interesting scenario.
Mrs. Robinson at the end, the bride just simply hopped on a city bus to escape marriage.
So I think what this is more like, though, if you look at his age, this looks more like middle-aged crazy. Like instead of buying, a motorcycle or a sports car, this guy like went to Uzbekistan.
Yeah, that's not the spot that, like I said, I would be headed to by any stretch of the imagination. Because Uzbekistan, even the name of the place doesn't sound like it's very, fun.
No.
Okay. I mean, Australia, that sounds like fun. I'd be very happy to go there. But Uzbekistan, one, spelling it's got to be difficult. Two, okay, it was a very, very poor area of the old Soviet Union. And they still speak Russian, which I don't speak. I mean, at least in Australia, they speak Australian.
You speak Australian, yeah.
Right. And I can learn that very easily.
Yeah. Well, I know Canadian, so it's easy for me to speak Australian.
Hey.
So
that's right. They were all once part of the British Empire. And the sun never sets.
Here, let me show you a map. There's Uzbekistan. If you take a look where it is
it's quite sizable.
Right near Turkmenistan. Afghanistan.
I didn't even know Turkmenistan existed. What is that?
That's another country that was divvied up after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Is this one
That's
of
not
these
Turkey?
It's not Turkey, no.
Is this one of these countries that like when you watch the Olympics and they come in with their flags, they have like maybe two athletes marching?
And they may not even have two in Uzbekistan. Although, I mean, if you take a look at with regards to where this country is located, it does not in any way say Fun Time City. Okay.
So no, it borders Kazakhstan, which is where Borat is from, right? And
well, you can always drop down into Afghanistan for a night out on the town.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So it is not a very, very good place to go by any stretch.
Yeah, it's not on my bucket list.
No, it would not be on my bucket list unless I was, abducted. Then probably that's where I would end up.
Right, so who thinks he's going to come back at some point? I think he comes back at some point. I really do.
Yeah.
You don't, Al?
I think he's coming back, but I think he's going to be coming back via. He's gonna set this whole thing up or talk about the fact that he was catfished. He was brought there under false pretenses. They robbed him of everything he had, and that he's gonna make the United States pay for him to go back.
Jury Duty Pod, Kimberly B. So random. I'm part Tajikistani.
What was that?
That's one of the other neighboring countries.
Oh,
is Tajikistan, and she's part Tajikistani.
Oh,
she doesn't
really?
look Tajikistani.
No.
Not at all. Like I would never guess that.
You know another famous person who faked their death was Vince McMahon.
What?
Back in 2007, there was a whole
Oh, when
storyline.
when Stone Cold blew up his limo?
Yep. That in a limousine that was exploded on WWE Raw.
Yes.
And it had a large amount of publicity and everything else, and it turned out to be false. He was not blown up in the thing. And then, of course, we know about the so-called death of Paul McCartney. Okay, that they said that he was no longer around.
But he did not perpetrate that himself.
No. But
so she Jukester apparently had a mom hiding for 9 years in Florida.
What? Really?
We didn't know mom was hiding in Florida for 9 years.
Wow.
So where would you hide in Florida? If you had to go hide in Florida, which part of Florida do you think you could disappear in? Would you
Miami Beach?
The part of Florida where you have a home.
Boca. The areas where we're going to have a good time. I wouldn't want to be in the Everglades. So I want to be in Boca, okay, Miami Beach, Miami, and, hanging out there with the rest of the stars.
You can find me at the High Line.
Yes.
I love High Line.
High Line was a great sport. I guess it still exists, right?
It still exists, but unfortunately it's been, you go to the Fronton and there's maybe like 30 people there, and the place fits like 10,000. It's kind of sad what's become of it. They got casinos supposedly to save the sport, as they supposedly were going to save racing with casinos at tracks, and they never gave back into the sport, and it's a shame. It's a really wildly interesting game. Highlight
used to be on TV. You ever watch it on TV? Hey, look who's here!
It's time to get funky. It's time for us to smile. Cause here comes McSpunky.
Happy Thanksgiving to McSpunky.
We gonna get funky like a monkey.
He's got some gobblers. There is a gobbler's knob near my house. What's gobbler's knob? Is that a? Do we know what that is?
I would imagine it's a place where they sell gobblers
or knobs.
Knobs, yes.
Is that a restaurant? I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
But you know what? There used to be Highlight in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Milford Highlight. And there was
Milford Highlight in Connecticut. When I was in school in Connecticut at Fairfield University, I would go up there and watch how corrupt it was with regards to your betting situation.
Yes, I've noticed that in Miami, not so much at Hollywood Highlight, Dania Highlight. It seemed on the up and up, but I was in Miami where a guy clearly didn't go after the ball. There was going to be Highlight in New Jersey. They were going to put it in Asbury Park, New Jersey, where I live now. Back in like the late 70s, I think it was, to try to revitalize the town. But it fell through. I wish they had, because then I could walk up to the boardwalk and watch Highlight.
That would be amazing. Friendly Farm Girl, afternoon, Vinny guys, and chat coming from -30 Saskatchewan.
Ooh, been there.
I love a Friendly Farm Girl.
And I've been to Saskatchewan.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Was it a summer or a winter visit?
I was up there in the summer for fishing trip, hunting trip.
And?
It was great. I had a lot of fun up there, but I mean, it's like remarkable. I was up there with the Fort Lee Police Department. We were up for a father-son trip up in that area. We used to go up there all the time, and we talking to the mounted Canadian Mounties, and they had, like, if there was a call, they'd have to go like 70 to 80 to 100 miles in order to be able to make a call. So if there's an emergency situation, you're not getting help that quickly in Saskatchewan. No. And also Saskatoon is where Rowdy Piper's from. For real? Yeah. Saskatoon, wow. Saskatchewan.
Well, because in wrestling, a lot of times, like, the place they say you're from is, part of the storyline. That's why I asked.
It's beautiful up there.
Behind the Mask lived in Orlando for 6 months. I lived there for 18 months.
Did you really? Oh, right. You were on News 12 down there.
No. No. Central Florida News 13.
Ah, okay.
All local all the time.
Did you know that Rowdy Piper was a runaway at the age of 14? Lived on the
Yes.
streets.
Yep, I was aware of that.
Oh, this
Played
is
bagpipes
great.
for a few bucks.
Is this true? Didn't
Yes.
and this is from Tasman 74. Didn't JR fake his death on Dallas?
Yes,
No.
we discussed this before in the Dallas reboot. Larry Hagman actually died before the second season finished, and so they killed off the character, and it was all like, who shot JR again? Who killed JR? Like all over again. This is on the reboot, and what happened in the finale? Spoiler alert: is that Larry Hagman knew he was dying, JR knew he was dying, so he faked his own death and framed his nemesis, the prosecutor from the original Dallas, Ken Kercheval. He framed him, and in the finale, the Ken Kercheval character ends up in for life in a Mexican prison for the murder of J.R. Ewing.
So he was killed in Mexico?
Yeah.
I love how Jonesy provided the spoiler alert for a show that's like 50 years old.
For those of you,
turn the
volume down.
The reboot was about, 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, it was? I didn't realize that.
Lasted 2 seasons, and I was all in because I love Dallas.
Gotcha. I know you also love Key West, and Karen Michael would disappear in Key West. Jonesy, do you think it's possible to disappear in Key West?
Yeah, but the roosters will wake you up every morning at 5. The roosters that wander the streets of Key West. I love the Florida Keys in general. Key West is great, but more the party area. But the Florida Keys, man, wow.
We've got more talk about Gobbler's Knob. What is I don't know what Gobbler's Knob is.
Someone said it's an adult film.
What? Wait a minute. Breaking news from Darkland. We all speak English in Australia.
Yes. I thought that's what you guys were joking about. That you
we were joking. We were calling it Australian. Okay. Yes, we were well aware of that, but we were just using it as sort of a joke.
Well, they speak English. They speak.
What do they call? What do they call submarine sandwiches in Australia? Is the question.
Which we're called.
It's not a Vegemite, right? Because that's a particular sandwich.
Oh, that's the most horrific spread you could ever eat. I mean, it makes
everybody knows. Everybody knows Vegemite sandwiches from Men at Work.
Exactly.
Yep. So no, a Gobbler's Knob
is where the groundhog sees his shadow.
Forest. There's a Gobbler's Knob State Forest in New York.
Should we have known this, Jonesy? It's where the groundhog sees his shadow.
Nah, because the groundhog in each state sees its shadow in a different place.
Pennsylvania.
It's not Gobbler's Knob where we are.
No, it's Punxsutawney Phil is in Pennsylvania.
Well, you got Punxsutawney Phil, you got Staten Island Sam.
Yeah,
who are you going to believe? Who are you going to trust, huh? Some
there's a Jersey one too.
In Pennsylvania, or your very own Staten Island Sam.
Well, no, there's a Jersey one also. Gobbler's Knob is a state forest. That's the only thing I see here. I do not see a pornographic film from the 70s, but of course I will look closer.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
All right.
Hey, Gen X, reminding everyone, hit the like for the tangents. Boom, boom. Hey, we are simulcasting on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch. And by the way, I still want to remind you folks that on the 22nd, big day. It's the Christmas special. And we expect a very big crowd on Sunday, the 22nd December. We'll be simulcasting on the Court TV YouTube page, apparently. Big news there as well. So expect a very, very large crowd on the 22nd. This is like the show of shows, folks. This is we're taking true crime to the next level.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a level above. You can't even see the level on this screen. It's going like up to the next level. Lots, it's an old school Christmas special, but with the old tangent twist to it, right? So
That's right.
We've got a lot of things up our sleeves. A lot of
Not
things.
for the squeamish.
Not for squeamish, but it'll be a good time. I think Sunday night is a good time, because I know everyone's preparing for the holiday. It's just a moment to just relax, right? Take time out from wrapping. Take time out from getting all the decorations done and redone and taking pictures and everything you have to do. Just take a few hours, relax, log on. You can watch us on your phone. You could take the phone and put it on your TV, gather the kids around, maybe strike up the fire, right?
Yeah. It will be family friendly.
It'll be family friendly, not too much red rum.
No.
We're gonna go light on the red rum. We actually went light today as well, purposely. Like I wanted to do a story just before Thanksgiving that didn't involve so much red rum. Like it's heartbreaking for the family. It's heartbreaking for the kids. But I think there's a chance at redemption. Do you think he can put his family back together? Do you think he can make his kids as happy as we look on the screen right now?
No.
No?
No.
Well,
I mean, the kids got to live with this. Like dad, like disliked us being a family so much that he took off to this country we can't pronounce.
Yeah. I'm sure that they're not taking any grief in the old classrooms.
Yeah, in the schoolyard, I'm sure they're they're revered.
But the Tangent Christmas special is a throwback to the specials of old. That's what we were trying to do. Put something together that is like family friendly, that brings you back to when they used to have Christmas specials on television. Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra.
How about this? Back when Christmas was special.
Oh,
there you go.
That's a good tagline.
That is a good tagline.
Licia M. Jonesy looks like a ZZ Top elf.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that too.
It took me like a few minutes to figure out that I'm smoking a giant cigar.
No, I don't think it's a cigar. I think it's part of the of your.
Is it
scarf?
Okay.
I think it's the scarf, but it does look like a beard as well.
So get ready for the 22nd. A lot of production going on with this show.
Oh, yeah. It's now this is a big deal. This is not a small deal. This is a big deal. This one. By the way, I'm covering us up. Well, that's okay. Anita Mayhew Wilson. It would be hard. His wife would be wondering when he would leave again. Would it be more difficult for the wife or the children? I think it's more difficult for.
I think it's more difficult
for the wife. I think children are more resilient.
And the wife has to worry about both sides of the equation, like, him and what happened and why he did it and whether he'll stay, and also how the children are handling this.
Yeah.
It's certainly embarrassing for all.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to probably be more embarrassing for the wife with regards to, how do you explain this?
There'll be a buzz at the PTA meetings, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you might have to move. You might have to leave Green Lake County.
Yeah.
They can move out and join him.
I was thinking, for work, something that he could do, which a lot of people do now, is that, especially if you're like an IT person or something, you can work remotely and work for some company that's just looking for, I don't know, web design or IT support. I don't know what Borgwart does. Obviously, he's really good at computers because he's able to track down a woman in Uzbekistan. But I don't know. I think that might be one way that he could make money, is remotely and not have to go somewhere to work. He could work from his luxurious apartment.
My money is it's a catfish thing, because it's just, it seems, and I think, you can say about, meet someone in Uzbekistan. I get emails all the time telling me that so-and-so from Uganda is trying to get in touch with me because he won all this money, but he can't collect it, so he has to go through somebody else. So if I contact him and then get the money, I will get the money, and then we will split it.
I'm glad, because I forwarded that to you.
Yeah, I know.
I forwarded it to you because I figured you're still practicing law. You'd be able to get it done a lot easier.
It was exactly right. So I put it in with my trust account, and things are going very well for me right now. As
I get that on Facebook, and I usually respond by telling them to send me gift cards to prove that they're sincere when they want to be my friends.
So, I'm sure that catfishing out of Uzbekistan has got to be as good as the.
So is he just embarrassed to come
Nigeria?
Home? Is he embarrassed to come home, or is he not allowed to come home? Is he now working as a slave in Uzbekistan? Like,
I don't think he has the money to come. I don't think he has the money to come home.
How much could it cost? What's a flight from Uzbekistan to Madison?
I'm sorry, I don't know that offhand.
And by the way, can't you go on to kayak.com? Don't they give you the better prices? Too soon.
Good point.
Too soon.
Very good point. Maybe he'd be a good ad for kayak.com.
Gen X believes his stuff is on the curb. But they're on. I mean, they're basically saying we want you to come home, and maybe because maybe what they see in the proof of life video is not what he's really like, and what they're seeing is someone who looks like he's mentally ill. That's not Dad. That's not my husband.
So that's going to be the next thing. He feigns mental illness. This is what happened.
I don't know. Let's take a look. Does this look like a mentally ill man?
Good evening. It's Ryan Borgward.
Yes.
Hello, Matt.
By the way, what is that? That shirt he's wearing.
November 11th.
That's the Uzbekistan polyester knit.
It's approximately.
It's very popular.
A.M. by you guys. I'm in my apartment.
It's a Gobbler's Knob T-shirt.
It's interesting. He's got the John Travolta thing in his chin.
Oh, the dimple.
The cleft.
The what do they call it? A cleft?
Cleft.
Cleft. He's got a cleft. So I wonder if that guy on the bike had that. Let me see.
TikTok video shot.
Does he have a cleft in his chin?
You can't really see. It's kind of shoulders blocking it.
Yeah.
But he has sort of that Donald Pleasant hairstyle in that on the guy on the bike.
Yeah, if he has the it almost looks like he has it there, right?
It's hard to see.
I got to tell you, I bet you that there's a whole bunch of catfishing going on from Uzbekistan. That wouldn't surprise me in the least.
I didn't even know what catfishing was until you gentlemen started using the term during this program.
Okay.
No,
I'd never heard it before. But I
surmised on MTV. There's a show on like 20 years on MTV called Catfish.
Yep.
Who watches MTV since they stopped playing video?
It was that football player from Notre Dame that was being catfished. I mean, he was the captain of the team for Notre Dame. They had this girlfriend that never showed up, but would always send pictures and this, that, the other thing. And I mean, it was a horrific story with this guy. It was
does not know.
5 years ago or whatever, maybe a little bit more. He was the captain of the Notre Dame football team, who, by the way, beat Army on last Saturday, which was very sad.
Let's get to a couple more comments, and then we've got to go because I've got to have my lunch. We started early today, so I haven't lunched yet, and I don't want my blood sugar to get too low.
What are you having for lunch?
I may have a sandwich, maybe a turkey sandwich.
Get ready for the holiday. You're foreshadowing.
Yeah, but to me, sliced turkey from the deli is just different. I feel like I'm not even eating the same thing.
Right.
It's like when I eat like a turkey, right? When I grab are you a drumstick guy, Jonesy? You look like a drumstick guy.
No, I'm a white meat guy.
A breast man.
Yes, if you will.
Al?
I like the breast and the wing.
And the wing. That's an interesting
wing.
comment.
Not a lot on the wing.
The wing is a lot of fun. I like the wing. It's a little wing ding.
Interesting. Okay, so let's do this. Let's wrap this up, boys. Let's wrap this up. again, as always, reminding everyone about the amazing Christmas special coming up on the 22nd at night. But we've got a few tangents podcasts before that. But
yep, we'll be back next Friday.
Next Friday, so a week from Friday.
A week from Friday.
We'll be back. Okay, so Al, where can folks find you?
Oh, Monday night, you can find me 8 to 9 on Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan at Court TV. And then, at Legal Weapon 3 on Twitter, on X. And when you put comments down for the YouTube, I do respond. So
look at that. And Jonesy, where can folks find the radio legend?
I'll be appearing at the Gobbler's Knob in Schenectady tomorrow night for Thanksgiving. Try the turkey.
Me, 8:00 tonight, Closing Arguments with Vinnie Politan. And then 9:00, Vinnie Politan Investigates. We're going to take a listen to Jen Soto interview. Gisela from Grizzly True Crime will be our special guest. So make sure you tune in 9:00 tonight. Vinnie Politan Investigates. Again, thank you to the Mod Squad for helping us out. I'm Vinnie Politan. He's Al Wunsch. Say goodbye, Jonesy.
Goodbye, Jonesy.
Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast.